Welcome, Sojourners, to the Women's Leadership Mindset series presented by Teresa K. Page, LLC. My name is Teresa Page. I am your host and looking forward to spending these next few moments with all of you. We have a lot of work to get done on today, but first, allow me to invite you to connect with me by subscribing to my website and YouTube channel. Connect and follow me on LinkedIn, and always feel free to contact me directly via email at teresakpagellc@outlook.com. So what is our goal? Well, as an author, speaker, coach, and mentor, my mission is to help professional women renew their leadership mindset with fresh fire and purpose through the mediums of leadership development and coaching services. However, the Women's Leadership Mindset series is a new initiative intended to spotlight powerful women leaders and how they serve the world through their professions and purpose. So with the goal to help women realize their unfulfilled dreams and re-energize the leaders they always were, this platform is designed to enhance, empower, educate, equalize, and even emancipate, as our special guests share their entrepreneurial stories, provide valuable resources, and guidance in a caring, professional, and impactful manner. So, let's get down to business. Good morning, leaders. I had the opportunity to sit this morning and just kind of think over some things. It's February of 2025, and in just a few days, it will be the 10th anniversary from the moment that I feel that my purpose in life was revealed to me at a small women's history appreciation event in Atlanta back in 2015. For those of you who have heard this story before, at this particular event, there were women from all different walks of life, different types of industries and continents, so on and so forth. It was a very diverse room. And we were there specifically for the purpose of business. But I am still forever, all of these years later, I can still see the woman standing at that microphone asking the question with all of the things that women are capable of doing. It still feels like there is something that is holding us back. What is it? And I remember that particular question changed my life, because it was in that moment, within that discussion, where there were different types of answers that was being brought forth to the floor to answer her question as far as why women can't seem to move past a certain point, even though we're very successful in many ways. Why does it seem that women can't move past a certain point? I remember a lot of the answers are some of the, traditional answers of negative self-talk, low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, so on and so forth. But it was in that particular moment where I knew my purpose. It was almost like lightning hitting me in my chest that my purpose was born, as far as me having a hand or being able to loosen the lid off of women's capacity, that was my purpose. I felt that at the time I was publishing my very first book, My Journey to Wholeness, The Sojourn Continues. I felt that was going to be the way. With everything that I learned at the time, all of the skill sets that I had at the time, that my book, hosting events, and all of that, I felt like I had everything that I needed. What I then found out was that I didn't. What I then found out was that the lid of my own capacity was still screwed on very, very tight. And it has been 10 years to loosen that lid and to take it off. And I'm not sure if it's all the way off, but it has been 10 years, because I will say, because I had to be prepared for that purpose. What I thought I knew at the time, it wasn't enough. I had to then go through a huge curriculum of redevelopment to be rebuilt from my mind, the way that I saw the world, the way that I saw myself, and to almost be rebuilt, to be redeveloped, to be renewed, I would say, for the purpose that I've been attempting to live out in the last couple of years. But that was, just a small part of the story. I think what I was thinking on this morning was when your purpose is finally revealed to you, it may require a dismantling of your entire life, the framework of your entire life that you may have established for yourself in an effort to become the person that you are always meant to be, to fulfill the purpose that you were purposely and purposely born for, purposely designed for. And that could be way over into your life. I think back to that, it was 10 years ago. I was probably getting ready to turn 40. And 2025, this is my 50th year. And for me, it was a complete disruption. It was almost as if I was going through my adult adolescent stage because previous to that, I lived according to the needs of what my family needed and what my environment needed at the time. And I don't apologize for any of that. That was a purpose that needed to be fulfilled, the needs of my family, being available for my family as necessary, being available for the work that I was doing at the time. But then when I hit 40, I needed something else. And I knew that I needed something else. And I think that's when I started writing. Um, and so, but it was such a dismantling. And in many ways, it was very shocking to my life, but it was necessary. And I was just having this conversation with a podcast host after we finished recording the podcast that I'll be featured on her platform in a few weeks. But we were having this discussion about what is our willingness to dismantle our lives to finally become the people that we were always intended to be. And in some cases, because it's uncertain and it's scary, and you might have to rid people out of your life that is no longer, that cannot contribute to the purpose, or you may have to move, or you may have to change careers, or you might have to go back to school, or you may finally have to address your past traumas. You might have to give room to focus in on your health matters that you probably haven't taken time to work on. You have to then maybe even focus on repairing your finances or how to do finances or to learn how to be better in your finances. You may lose everything at once and have to rebuild from the ground up. You may have to repeat that process more than once. You may have to end up being someplace you don't want to be, all in an effort to become this thing, to really be able to become the light, the person, the leader, to create a good, to create a service, to write a book, to start an organization, to start a business, to start a ministry, to start a nonprofit organization, or whatever it is, to finally to be undone, wherein you are finally opened up, where your inward and innate treasures are finally opened to serve the world, the people, the territory, the region that you were purposely brought into the world to serve, and to walk out a purpose that you were perfectly designed to manifest in this particular time in life. And so as I sit here in my 50th year, still building, because this is an ongoing endeavor. But I finally have come into a place where I know what I was made for. I know what my message is concerning love and dominion and leadership and wisdom, and why these components are necessary to affect the change in the parts of the world or the industries that we are supposed to affect change. I am not one that really speaks about our political matters in any of my content, but it would be disingenuous for me to be in this moment in our current political history right here, especially in the United States, to turn a blind eye or be mute about what's happening in our world. And what I'm finding is that a lot of things that we have leaned on our governments to do to help its citizenship, it appears that our government is no longer willing to do those things, whatever it is, to fulfill whatever need that we have depended on, whether it was employment or whether it was particular services or particular benefits. And while there's protests going on in the world, and maybe it should be, there are thousands of my fellow Americans who are now being thrust into the into an environment where they now have to find new employment or a new way of living in order to survive and to be able to make a living to take care of their homes and their children and whatever it is that they need to take care of. We now have thousands of new citizens who are now in that space of unemployment, and they now have to find new employment. What do we say to these things? Well, this is what I say to these things. If our governments are no longer willing to do certain things, then it then comes back to us, we the people. We the people, from an individual point of view, in such disruption and intense and sudden disruption, what are we supposed to do now? Well, if I had to give any guidance, if my wisdom counts for anything, this is what I would say to those who have been thrust in a sudden interruption of your life so you can remain steady. First and foremost, if it's possible, do not panic. Protest if you must, but do not panic. I would first say to you, check and see, as far as with your local government and your state government, if there's certain things that you can tap into to help secure and help you to maintain until you can find a new employment opportunity, then do so. Absolutely do so. If you need family support, lock in with your family, lock arms, and use the strength of your family to create some type of stability so you don't feel like you're flailing. And once you have secured or at least stabilized this sudden interruption and you're kind of steady, at least you're not wobbling or you're not flailing, I would then encourage you, maybe take a few moments to heal, to mourn, whatever it is that you feel like you have lost, and to mourn whatever this moment is. Take a moment or two, take a day or two, take a week, fine. Do that as well. I think I would encourage you to do that. Take a moment to mourn and to put to bed what may have just happened, because this is a painful moment. So take a moment, just take a moment to kind of woosah, to regather your thoughts, get much needed sleep, eat the way that you need to eat, take a walk, take a whatever, take a vacation, get away, do whatever it is that you need to do to kind of mourn this moment. And I would just suggest don't take a whole lot of time to do it. Just take a couple of weeks, take a couple of days, a couple of weeks, whatever it is that you need to do to reconcile this moment and put it away. The third thing that is really important is that you start communing with yourself, that you commune with your own heart. This is a time to take some inventory about you and your own greatness. You fulfilled a duty for many others. You're giving your life, your education, your skills, your abilities, and all of those things. You have lend all of those abilities over to somebody else's vision, somebody else's mission, and somebody else's core values and objectives and their goals. But it's now time for you to take some inventory, to take some stock in those things that you're great at, those things that you might suck at, your Achilles heels. Is it important for you to do that as well? Take some inventory of your likes, your dislikes, how you might do life differently, or that if finances was not an issue, what is it that you would be doing? What are some things that you put on the back burner because you had to give 40 hours plus to somebody else? What would you do now that you have freed up 40 hours or more, 40 to 60 hours of your life per week? Now that this time is free, what have you been daydreaming about at your desk or on your drives in your commute? Those things that may have been in the back burner, or those ideas that have been brewing, or those things that you've been scribbling on, or when you're daydreaming, those things that you said that you would give life to. This is now an opportunity for the citizenship, whether you're here in the United States or you're someplace else in the world. If you are experiencing a sudden disruption where there was a huge chunk of your time and your life that was given over to a previous vision, what now would you take these extra 40 and 60 hours a week, or this extra up to 240 hours that you would contribute over to a month, and now you have this free time? What do you now need to bring to life? It could be a book, could be a movie, a manuscript, or a business plan, or an idea that it was just an idea, but it is now time to bring these things to the forefront. And if you need to look for other work, by all means do that. But while you're doing that, this is the time to bring to life the thing that you were meant to do. For some of you, it might be starting a business. For some of you, it might be writing a book. For some of you, it might be finishing a play or finish the script of a movie. For some of you, it might be finished penning a song and recording it and releasing it. For some of you, it might be starting a nonprofit organization. For some of you, it might be having to raise capital for something that you may have already started, but you weren't able to give your full contribution or attention to. Whatever it is, this is the time, because it's now for the citizenship to figure out that gift, that ability that was given to us at birth to bring our families wealth, not just for our present day, but for generations to come. We're in a particular space where we're concerned about whether our democracy will be turned into an oligarchy. In order to prevent that in the future, we have to level the playing field. It is important for us to understand that wealth is a standard. It is not an anomaly. Wealth is something as a human being that we are expected to have to take care of the needs of our family, our community, and the world at large. It is a standard. We have been developed and we've been conditioned in more ways than one to think that wealth is only for a few. Not so. Wealth is a requirement for every human being, whether we want to believe that or not. And it might be hard for us to understand that. But if our Heavenly Father, our designer, our creator, if he is rich, then his children or his design is designed to be rich. His creation is designed to be rich. And this is not about religion. This is about understanding who we are as human beings that was made for the purpose of dominion, that was made for the purpose of leadership, that was made to be fruitful, to multiply, to subdue, and to replenish, and to have dominion. That is the assignment for the human family, man, woman, children alike. No one is excused. There is no exception to this rule. And our ability to have a certain amount of domain and authority in a particular area of influence or a particular area of industry, being able to be fruitful so that we can produce abundantly, being able to multiply, which is to make more of, to intensify, to be able to scale, having that ability to subdue, which is having influence, controlling influence, or being able to gain mastery over a particular shortcoming, a temptation, or even a passion, and being able to replenish, whether it's giving birth to new children or just being able to recreate and to continue to produce upon the original thing. So if you're making a widget, writing a book, and you need to sell those books, being able to replenish, to fully supply whatever market you're trying to supply, whatever good or service that you're trying to supply a particular market. We were designed for this. We were made for this. So I would just say to all of you, and we have the intelligence, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So if you need to take some time to study up on something, to develop in a particular area, you have a particular area of interest, but you're not quite developed in it, then do what you need to do to get that development, whether it's with mentorship, or you need to go back to school, or you need to go and get a certificate, or you need to sit with a counselor, whether it's a career counselor or a business counselor. Tap into your local resources so you can start learning and developing this next big adventure of your life. So if you need to redevelop, get the understanding, get the knowledge, get that knowledge, which is basically factual information, which is precepts, concepts, understanding what it is that you need to do. Make sure you have the understanding, comprehend what you're learning. Make sure that you're understanding what you're being taught, the information that you're taking in. Make sure that you understand it. And then take that knowledge, take that understanding, and use wisdom to turn it into something amazing. All of us are built with above average brain power. And that is something that we as human beings have to remember. While the age of AI is upon us, great, that's wonderful. But we also must understand that it is the human mind, it is the human way of thinking, it is the human way of doing, the human way of creativity that feeds AI. We need to remember that. AI cannot be any more than what we are. Our technology has spent millions and billions and trillions of dollars. All of these things that we talk about technology is doing all that it can to replicate the human mind. And in no way, shape, or form can the human mind be duplicated. It can be imitated, but it cannot be duplicated. This is how amazing we are. And this is why it's important for you to take some time to commune with yourself to understand just how amazing you are. Take what is amazing about you, turn it into something tangible that you can then release into your market, whether it's with your family, your community, or the global citizenship at large. All of us has something that will bring our family wealth and that will turn into generational wealth so that we are able to meet the standard of wealth, not just for our families, but that we can also support the needs of our neighbors or our community or whatever particular passion project that you might want to bring it into its suffering. All of us has something. So when it comes to purpose, just to kind of bring this to a close, start developing, start communing with your heart to understand, to kind of reset, to understand what's amazing about you, what's great about you. Understand your strengths, understand your weaknesses, understand your opportunities. And as you are taking time, start pulling out those great things about you and some of those ideas that are not just random ideas. Take the strongest of those ideas and start working on it. Finish it, start working on it. If you need more development, if you need more understanding, tap into those resources that will help you to understand what it is that you need to do. And let's get it out into where we're supposed to get it to, whatever place that you need to put it in the marketplace, whether it's online or it's in a brick and mortar, or if it's something you got to sell out your house or out your car, it doesn't matter. Get it to the people, the territory, or the region that you need to get it to. The ways of distribution are diverse. So find a way that is conducive to what you can do. And as we start to develop whatever that is great in us, that we could turn into something tangible, to take to whatever market that we're assigned to or whatever industry that we're assigned to. If we can all do this on an individual basis, collectively, we will find that we will be eliminating a lot of the leverages that should never exist in our world, a lot of the injustice that should never exist in our worlds, a lot of the inequities of wealth that should never exist in our world, and all other manners of oppression that should never exist in our world. If we can all produce what is amazing about us individually, collectively, we will begin to repair and finally build the world that we can be proud of and that our children and their children and generations 1,000 years down the road can be proud of. So, if you have to purposely dismantle your world to become what you were designed to come, or if your world has been suddenly interrupted by somebody else's doing, while this moment may feel a particular way, understand that this particular moment in your life, it is a blessing and it's a gift of God, so that you can be finally undone and we can finally see the treasures that has always been inside of you, and we can become the leaders and the rulers and the guardians over this earth realm that we were always intended to be, having the wealth and the resources necessary to fulfill our mission. So thank you for listening to my heart. If during this time that you need a little bit more insight on how to do any of those things, I would like for you to connect with me. You can reach out to me on Teresa K page.squarespace.com, and you can schedule a meeting with me so we can discuss either how to create a plan of achievement for you through coaching, or we can even discuss how we can host a private event for us to engage in the Love the Success Factor Women's Leadership Conference. And that could be for men or women. In this conference, we talk about just what I talked about today, and how love is that tool to help us rediscover our greatness, our intelligence, to become and to create that thing we were supposed to create here in the earth, to bring a particular resolution to whatever problem we were made to solve. And love is that catalyst. And so I would like to be able to discuss with you how we can host a private event, whether it's with your friends, your family, with a team, or your organization or congregation. So check out the information in the bio and let's connect. But in the meantime, here's to the journey, and let's move forward.